Call to order the meeting of the Triton School District regular school board meeting, Monday, March 15th, 2021. We'll do a roll call for attendance. Missy?
Here.
Dewey? Lloyd? Lloyd? Dale?
Here.
Jim?
Here.
Wendy?
Here.
And Rebecca here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition of visitors.
Yeah, let me pull my. I did not have any requests for anyone to speak.
Okay. Next, approve agenda. I have a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Dewey. Have a second?
Second by Jim.
Second by Jim. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy?
Yes.
Dewey?
Yes.
Lloyd? Lloyd, we're not able to hear you. Maybe he needs to turn his volume up. Dale?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Wendy? Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. Cobra Pride.
All right, Mary shared with me some things that are happening down in the elementary, so I want to recognize a special group of people tonight. Our math and reading corps. If you start kind of up in that top left corner of the screen is Val Langworthy. Moving right to left, it would be Cheryl Pischke, Nan Babcock. Then in the middle row there, Vicki Reiser, Terry Fleechek, who's been subbing and helping out a lot there. And then on the bottom left is Sarah Gustafson. Currently, there's 17 students in the reading corps, and 100% of them are exceeding their growth targets. So really good things happening down there in the elementary, and just wanted to recognize those folks for the good work that's happening.
Thank you. Approved consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to pull out of the consent agenda? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
This is Jim. I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Jim
This is Wendy. I'll second.
and second by Wendy. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy?
Yes.
Dewey?
Yes.
Lloyd? Dale?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. New business. 7.1, discuss approved resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Anthony Benedictson, a probationary teacher.
These are all probationary teachers on non-renewal.
I'll make the motion to approve 7.1. This is Missy.
Motion by Missy,
Second by Dale.
second by Dale. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy,
Yes.
Dewey, Lloyd, Dale,
Yes.
Jim,
yes,
Wendy,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.2, discuss approve resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Alex McDonald, probationary teacher.
this is Jim. I'll move to approve 7.2.
Motion by Jim
Second by Wendy.
and second by Wendy. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy,
Yes.
Dewey, Lloyd, Dale,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes,
Wendy,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.3, discuss approve resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Adam Anderson, a probationary teacher. Do I have a motion to approve 7.3?
This is Missy. I'll make the motion for 7.3. To approve.
Motion by Missy. Second by Dewey. We'll do another roll call vote. Missy?
Yes.
Dewey? Lloyd? Dale?
Yes.
Jim?
yes,
Wendy?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. Motion carried. 7.4, discuss approve resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Dustin Wright, a probationary teacher. Do I have a motion to approve 7.4?
Dewey, yes.
Motion by Dewey. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Missy.
Second by Missy. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy?
Yes.
Dewey?
Yes.
Lloyd? Dale?
Yes.
Jim?
yes,
Wendy?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.5, discuss approve resolution related to termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Renee Stiller, a probationary teacher. Do I have a motion to approve 7.5?
I'll move to approve 7.5, Wendy.
Motion by Wendy. Do we have a second?
second by Jim.
Second by Jim. And we'll do a roll call vote again. Missy?
Yes.
Dewey?
Yes.
Lloyd? Dale?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes,
Wendy?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.6, discuss approve resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract of Michael Benyon, probationary teacher. Do I have a motion to approve 7.6?
this is Jim. I'll move to approve 7.6.
We have a motion by Jim. Can I get a second?
Second by Wendy.
Second by Wendy. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy?
Yes.
Dewey?
Yes.
Lloyd? Dale?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes,
Wendy?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.7, discuss approved learning plan.
All right. What I've got is the two different months here, or actually three, if you look at April, May, and June. The biggest thing that's changed is the explanation of what the 30 minutes of prep time and how to determine that. The guidance changed on that. So we no longer need to use Fridays as a distance learning day. We can actually have students in session. So Mr. Luderman put together kind of a draft calendar. And as you can see, there's a couple of weeks that are kind of different because of testing, whereas like that first week of April, we don't have school on Thursday, Friday. So those would be what we would call like skinny days. So they would have first through eighth hour on those days. And then that following Monday again would be a no school day. So then that week we would do an odd, even. So the kids would go to their odd hour classes one day, even classes the next, much like we're doing now. And then just basically finish out the year with having the skinny day on Fridays.
Everybody's back in.
Yes. So that's really the biggest, that's really the biggest change. Otherwise, we've been back in school now with all students and, we're learning as we go too with some distancing things. I know we've adjusted a couple things with lunch here and there, but overall, I'd say that it's going well.
I'm sorry, Craig. Somebody asked you a question. I didn't hear it.
She said someone asked her a question, she didn't hear the question. Dewey's question, like repeat what his question was.
Oh, what I just said was, everybody's in.
I still can't. I still.
He just
couldn't hear
asked
that.
if all of the students were already in. He's just confirming that. Any questions on the learning model update? Since it is a change, I wanted to get the board to approve that.
I'll move to approve the new learning model.
Was that Jim?
Yeah.
This is Jim. Jim,
Motion by Jim to approve 7.7. Did you have a question?
It's just when will this go out to like,
Oh, as soon as we get it approved, then we can start communicating with families.
I'll second it, Missy.
Motion by Jim, second by Missy. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy,
Yes.
Dewey, Lloyd, Dale,
Yes.
Jim,
yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.8, student council report.
Don't see one of our student council guys on here. Anything you wanted to add, Mrs. Swanson?
They continue to be creative with trying to get activities for students to do. Their newest thing is they're providing updates to the student body via Zoom, bring advice every Thursday. So we can grow that and have both all the things that are happening right now, not just student health.
Gotcha. Did you guys hear that or not? I can repeat it. Yes, you heard? Okay.
No, I did not, Jim.
Okay, no, she just said that the student council members are continuing to be creative. They've started to provide Zoom updates for advisory time, and those are including the whole district, not just high school things that are happening. So updating students that way. Anything else?
Thank you.
Yep.
Seven point nine, Z report.
I don't know if Lloyd's speaker's working here, but they did release, and I sent those pictures to you. They have some pictures of the building. They sent out some timelines and when they're gonna go out for bid. So things are finally moving along with the building project for Zed, and that's the biggest thing. I know Lloyd has a meeting Thursday this week. And he sent out, and I can share those with you, the agenda for that meeting.
I was surprised it had a second floor. Elevators. We thought.
Yeah, I guess what they, you know, and Dewey's question was in regard to the elevator, why they added an elevator and second floor. But I think early on in the design phase, they found that it would be cheaper to add up and have the elevator. The other thing that they really tried to maximize with the stairway is that the stairway is kind of going to serve as a dual purpose. It's actually a really wide stairway. So they can actually hold student meetings there where they figure if the students are sitting on the stairs, they have a larger opening foyer. So it could actually be used for things like that.
Yeah, I just know elevators are.
Yeah, right.
Seven ten, principal's report.
All right, hello, everybody. Before I begin, we had some high school helpers that have been coming down for their volunteer hours, and this isn't something I had listed. I just wanted to recognize them and say thank you. Actually, we had one come on a day where we were down a teacher and I had to divide classes into 3 sections. And so those high school helpers that come down and volunteer at the elementary, we really, really appreciate them. So, and I forgot to tell you that too, Luke. So thank you, thank you. We're finishing up the schedule for the 21-22 school year. Teachers are creating the class list for next year, and we hope to do a move up like we've done in years past so kids can know who their teachers are for next year and feel comfortable. We'll be having kindergarten roundup on April 27th, I believe is the date. We set summer school dates with targeted services. We're looking at the last 2 weeks in June, last 2 weeks of July, just so you know that that's coming up. I did talk with Dave Hagan just to make sure you know, with all the construction going on, the facilities will be okay to do that. And if we come in the south doors, he thinks that that won't be a problem at that time. Our student teachers have been doing a great job. We also had a few more from Winona in our building for professional day. So that's good that we keep on learning and they love coming. And the one that came for first grade and volunteered for that day for professional day, she's coming back again to help some more. So we love having those teachers within our building, and we have another 2 coming for the fall. So we'll have one that will be in the elementary and then one that will be in the high school and then elementary and middle school because it's a PE and health position. Working on reading incentives for our K-1-2. So just trying to, we are seeing a loss, as all of you are probably very well aware, just with our needs. So just trying to get an incentive for kids, something to work for, and try and boost those reading scores and just make parents and students aware that we can do it. We've seen a lot of growth in the last month since we've been back 5 days a week, but we need to continue to work on that. Grades 3 through 5 will be taking their MCAs in April. And as you saw Luke's date, so April will be a busy month with testing across the board. We celebrated our 100th day of school. And we had some grannies appear, and there's some fun pictures on the next page, which is kind of fun. We had a couple dress up days, and we'll have a couple more this week. And our vaccinations are just about done. Those are almost all of our staff that wanted the vaccine has participated. So that's a great thing, and we're way ahead of the game. So thank you again to Dodge County Public Health and for being flexible as a school board to give us that day off, because we did have some people that had adverse reactions. So we really, really appreciate all of that. All right, and then the next page, Schlick, is the pictures. You guys can look and laugh and smile at the pictures. They had a good time. So any questions, anybody?
Could summer school possibly be changing because they've been talking about doing more with like making up? the state has? Or is it, are we pretty set for what we're doing for summer for elementary?
Well, we're limited as far as the amount of teachers and the target. We had a targeted service meeting with Zed. And so that's kind of the parameters in which they originally gave us. We haven't had another meeting for the last month. I can verify again, but that's kind of the means that we have to work within. So. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Good evening, everybody. Looking at what's going on in the middle school, we're excited that last Monday marked our transition back to in-person learning. It was amazing to see all of the students in the building. And as Mr. Schlichten alluded to earlier, the one area that we had to probably make the most tweaks to was the lunch room. And we, even in the lunch setting, we are able to socially distance. Now we have enough room for them to do that. Now keeping them always 6 feet apart might be a different endeavor, but we do have enough room in the large cafeteria and the small cafeteria for our 6th through 8th grade students. With the transition back to in-person learning, our Family Flex numbers actually went down at the middle school. We are currently at 14 students that are still in the Family Flex. That's the lowest it's been since the start of the school year. So I don't know if I can make sense of exactly why people came back from Family Flex when we all came back into the building, but that in fact is what happened at the middle school setting. Mrs. Morum alluded to all of the MCA testing that's going to be taking place. The middle school will also test in the month of April for our reading and our math. And the first week of May will be set aside for some science tests. I wanted to thank Mrs. Maloney, who is our district assessment coordinator. She's put in a lot of hours making sure that all of our testing tickets are ready and our kiddos are in a good spot to get tested and assessed in the month of April and beginning of May. Going all the way back to the Cobra Pride, we also have Math Core in the middle school. We have Allison McMartin is working with about 15 of our 6th graders currently. And we are happy to announce that we will have Math Core back for 21-22 in the middle school setting. And we're also hoping to have Allison back in the building. Thank you, Allison, for all that you've done with the Math Core. The sync schedule with high school, with some of the days that are coming up, it's important that realize that when high school has a testing day like they do on March 30th, we have to make adjustments at the middle school also. So we, as Mr. Schlichten was going through that calendar, there's a couple more days of what we call the skinny schedules there, and realize that we're doing that because of the shared staff. Moving into next year, we would like to keep a synced schedule with the high school. It's been great to be able to offer so many exploratory classes for our middle school, which gets them out of study halls. It sounds like Mrs. Swanson is in the room there at the library, and she's teaching a science exploratory, which I'd much rather have middle school students in exploratory classes learning than in a study hall setting. So we're looking to continue with the synced schedule at the high school moving into the next school year. Are there any questions based around the middle school happenings at this time? Then Mr. Schlichten, if you want to proceed to the next slide, I can talk some activities. The winter seasons are winding down. This next week is the beginning of the section tournaments for boys basketball, wrestling, and girls basketball. I'm pleased to share with all of you that we'll be hosting a boys basketball game at Triton tomorrow evening versus St. Charles for the first round of that tournament. We will have 120 total tickets available for our game. That means there's 60 Triton fans that will be allowed in and 60 St. Charles fans. That's tomorrow night at 7. Our wrestling team will be traveling to Grand Meadow for individual sections on Wednesday. In that venue, each of our participants will be allowed 2 spectators. Our girls basketball team will then travel on Thursday to Winona Cotter, and they have a total of about 54 spots for our students, or excuse me, spectators to watch that game. If the boys and or girls win this first round, they will continue. The boys would play again on Friday, and if the girls were victorious, they would play again on Saturday. The dance team has already wrapped up their season, so in the next couple weeks, we'll be putting winter seasons behind us and looking forward to the spring. But of all the programs that's going on, 2 that I really wanted to highlight this evening with the school board was our VPA and our FFA programs. You've heard me tell you before that both of these programs are flagship programs for Triton, and the programs are continuing to shine in 2020 and 2021. Wanted to start off first off talking about the BPA program. And BPA had state this past weekend. We had 12 students compete at the state level. 7 of them made the top 10 and 6 of them qualified for nationals. Of those that qualified, it included a state championship team in broadcast news that was made up of Kaylee Ellingson, Mariel Faber, and Natalie Robinson. In the same competition, we had the state runner-up broadcast news, and that team was made up of Talia Kelly, Caitlin Krupa, and Lydia Stanton. In addition to those 6, we had another 8th place finisher in McKenna Jensen in the area of interview skills. So of the 12 that competed, we had 7 make the top 10. And that's a testament to the hard work that those students have put in and the great job that our BPA program continues to do. It has also been a very busy month or 6 weeks for our FFA program. We've had a state competition, or excuse me, the following teams have qualified for state competition, including the Egg Mechanics team, which took 2nd in the region, and they had the #1 overall individual in Isaac Rand. Other team members that made the state include Isaac Kenworthy, Sean Strom, and Tristan Nelson. Our milk products team also qualified for the state tournament, which was made up of Katrina Heimer, Ari Thompson, and Avril Arliff. The final team that made it to the state competition is our dairy evaluation. They took 4th in the region, and they had the 8th overall individual in Caden Spearman and the 9th overall individual in Gigi Polakowski. Other members of that team are Alyssa Robinson, Stella Strike, and Emma Klejeski. And Mr. Ickler also made note of that 3rd team, the dairy evaluation. 4 of the 5 members are freshmen. So that's quite an accomplishment for a young team. It also has been a very busy time for our very own Anna Ridnour. She was one of 11 to be interviewed for 6 spots for the first state officer. State officer team will be revealed this month, April 23rd. Excuse me, that'll be next month, April 23rd. We had 10 members earning state degrees, including Anna Ridnour, Megan Justice, Maddie Stindl, Isaac Kenworthy, Isaac Grant, Ari Thompson, Katrina Heimer, Hannah Stark, Caden Rick, and Emily DeVetter. Anna Ridnour was also named the Region Star Farmer. She had an interview today at 4 p.m. Mr. Luderman and myself were fortunate enough to listen to a trial run this morning, and I know that Anna's going to do a great job with that interview. A couple more updates on the FFA. The region proficiency is still waiting for state results. They should know by the end of the week, but they got all first gold in the region, including Anna Ridnour, Katie Fitzgerald, and Kaya Avery. The steak feed took place a few weeks ago. They were selling steaks at a rate of 4 per minute. They sold all of the original purchases of 500 in 2 hours, and they purchased more from surrounding stores and ran out of those additional steaks at 7:15. They provided over 215 donor appreciation meals that evening. And last but not least, in the FFA program, the American Degrees. The following graduates interviewed for American Degrees to be awarded next October. That included Katie Fitzgerald and Devin Dorman. So a lot of information there, but I wanted the board to be aware of all the great things that are happening with our BPA as they head off to nationals and our FFA program continuing to be flagship programs for Triton. Getting back to the slide, all conference selections are coming out this week. I know that the boys all conference voting happens today. I know on the girls side, we had Briley Iverson make all conference for the HVL. Spring sports PAC meetings, and PAC reminder stands for Parent Athlete Coach. Those meetings have been set. We'll communicate that information out to all of our families, with the first one beginning this week on Thursday, I believe, with a baseball and trap shooting. March 22nd, which is next week Monday, is the first day of baseball. They have a week of arm care. And the following Monday, March 29th, our track and field, softball, and golf programs will kick off their schedules. The schedules are in constant flux with some of the guidelines that come out. For example, you cannot have a softball tournament this spring, and softball tournaments made up 6 of our 20 games. So there's still some work to be done on the schedules. And that was a big part of my snow day today, was reaching out and making sure that our schedules are set so that we can offer all the opportunities possible for our student athletes. I know I've talked a lot there on activities. Is there any questions based around what's going on in the world of sports and activities at Triton?
Well, the tickets that don't sell, or do they sell out every time for the basketball and all that? It doesn't with-
Is that Dewey asking about if we don't sell all the tickets tomorrow night? So we've communicated out to the parents and families of we have 13 rostered varsity boys basketball players for tomorrow night's game. Each one of them will have the opportunity to purchase up to 4 tickets. Any tickets that are left over, we are going to advertise and try to sell those after the school day tomorrow. I have a feeling that we will sell all 60 just to our families. But if we have any extras, I'm thinking of using the student council for a lottery system for seniors perhaps, or just opening up. Anna Lee and I will be busy tomorrow playing ticket vendor throughout the day. And then again on Wednesday for wrestling, and then again on Thursday for the girls basketball.
I wasn't
60 tickets.
I wasn't thinking of our side of the fence. I was thinking the other side. Do they sell?
Yeah, the St. Charles is a lot of the 60 tickets. In communications with their activities director today, they feel like they're going to sell all of those out. If there are any extras, he's going to notify me after school tomorrow. But it's a 50-50 split. So we're supposed to have the same number of tickets available for both schools, and that's a section rule, not a Triton rule. So I would anticipate that they sell their 60 tickets, because St. Charles fans have not been able to go to any away games in their conference. They are part of the Three Rivers Conference. If you remember back, they did not allow visiting fans into the stadiums or the gymnasiums. So he is thinking that his tickets will go in a hurry because the parents have not been accustomed to traveling to the away games.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions?
Questions? All right, Mr. Luhrmann.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay here tonight. Mr. Schlichting, is my volume okay? All right. As Shane had alluded to, we are officially in week 2 of full in-person instruction here. Overall, things have gone exceptionally well. We're adjusting and learning as we navigate this piece here as well. Okay. So sorry, my daughter's trying to bring me some food here. Just hang on, honey. Okay. So being that this was the first time in about a year we've been in full in person and full in person with everybody together, it's been new and different. I would say the biggest thing we're noticing is obviously it's much more crowded, but one good thing with that is there's much more energy in the building as well. And I could tell you, walking around the building this past week, just saw some fantastic things going on in terms of instruction with our students. I think our staff were excited to have everybody back as well. We also know as we continue to make changes in the model of instruction, and you just had an approval tonight with additional days back into the calendar, we know that can be a confusing thing for parents. We're doing our best to continue to focus forward and to communicate those changes as they come forward. So our parents have responded well, as our students and staff have too. So a thank you to those folks. Mr. Schlichting, we can go on. Some upcoming events here. I know Shane had alluded to this a little bit when he talked about the skinny days. In terms of our upcoming day on Tuesday, March the 30th, it's a busy day. Our freshmen will have a distance day on that day. Our sophomores will take the pre-ACT. Our juniors will take the ACT, not the pre-ACT. There's a typo there. I apologize for that. Our juniors will take the ACT or the ASVAB, and then we're pleased to offer CPR training for our seniors. Today was supposed to be the start of our MCAs for our sophomores, but we will start that tomorrow now. Our juniors will take a math test in a month or so, and we'll finish off the MCAs with a science test in May. You go to the next one, Mr. Schlichting. All right, we know at the end of the experience here, there are some milestone things going on. You've probably heard some conversation, or maybe you have not, in the community about the prom date. We're going to make an announcement. The announcement was supposed to be today, but obviously we're at home today on a snow day. So we are going to postpone prom until the 15th of May. In doing that, we believe that will provide us the opportunity to offer a better experience for our students. So we're excited to make that change. The next piece, the graduation, what we're planning to do on that is to stick with our originally scheduled date and to have the ceremony back indoors this year in a traditional format. Obviously, the closer we get to that date, the more we'll know on the number of tickets per student and we can have inside the gym for that. Any questions?
I'm gonna shoot back the summer school question for middle school and high school. Is there any talk or any, like, I know the state's been talking about funding for summer school, and if that's even a possibility for us, or if we're tossing that around for kids that need to catch up on what they're behind.
I had a hard time hearing that completely. I think the question was, is there a plan for the summer and summer school and helping kids get caught up? Is that accurate? Did I understand that correctly? Yeah, we're doing a couple of things with that right now. We actually started a new credit recovery program where we're meeting with students right now 3 nights after school, and Miss Breer has done a great job with that. So I think throughout the course of the semester, the students that were credit deficient will have an increased opportunity to work on that throughout the course of the school year. I would say, depending on how the semester goes, will steer us in the direction we go for credit recovery for our summer program.
So just got the questions that are we planning a certain program in the summer months for these kids? I don't know if there's other schools that are, if there's supposed to be some kind of funding and programming out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard that there may be some.
Some parents are under the assumption that their kids might be going to school in the summer.
I have not heard in terms of the funding what will be available for schools, and obviously that will steer what kind of programming we can offer. I know that students that are behind at the least, they will have the opportunity to attend the summer school program through ZED. And I know we can do some things in our building through them as well. So I'm anticipating that we'll expand our credit recovery options. To what extent at this time, I don't know. I think it's safe to say we're not going to have a full-fledged school calendar throughout the summer. It'll be more based on those students that are credit deficient and helping them provide them the opportunities to earn their credits.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. Anything else tonight, folks?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Superintendent's report.
Yeah, just a couple things. You asked kind of a little bit about like what the funding and stuff, and that's one thing that's been we're still waiting to find out what we can use the CARES Act 2 money. They keep telling it you're the ESSER 2, but they've really not given us guidance on that yet. So what we've really tried to do is focus on using what we have to get Chromebooks and tech for staff students. That's been sort of what they've told us to do. And we've tried to take whatever money was in our tech budget and use that money for that. So hopefully freeing up money in our general fund to cover some of the losses that we're seeing, because we definitely are seeing some losses with, our food service and community ed as we went over those in our budget update. So that's kind of what we're trying to do there. The next item I have is Aptigee. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to with using Aptigee is all of those things that Mr. Van Beek just talked about are things that we're going to be able to do a better job of publicizing. I think we need to do that. But, when you're using Facebook or Twitter, it sometimes has a limited scope because it's not something that everybody is tapped into. But everybody will be tapped into Aptigee. It's an actual app And if people want to turn the updates off, they can certainly, but we will be able to push out updates on a much regular basis to our parents and community members to help them understand what's going on at Triton, because I do think that we need to do a better job of marketing, and that's one of the cool things about Apogee. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're still in the building phase, but I sent out some samples so you could look at some of the different things they did. So we're still working on that. Right now, we're working with Apple to get approved to actually have an Apple app. So when you go to the App Store and type in Triton Public Schools, you'll see that little thing pop up and you'll be able to download the app. Professional development, we do still have our early out on March 24th. It's been difficult to try to get some of that done this year, but we are going to do a Zoom meeting with the teaching staff on the 24th for our early out. So we have a couple hours scheduled there. So just wanted to update you on that. Also, the other thing, I know I did put it in the updates, but I just wanted to explain that in person. We are waiting on results for they're redoing the testing on the floor in the media center here, because the original testing that they did, they took from the corners because they didn't want to wreck the carpet. But the feeling was, well, if you're taking it from the corners, that's possibly where the residue may be for asbestos, because this floor was supposed to have been abated back in '96. So it's sort of surprising. That's why Dave and I have been questioning, why is asbestos showing up when this floor was supposed to have been abated? So they are redoing that test. And if that comes back negative, that will save us money, both in the replacement of the carpet and also with the having to move the bookshelves and stuff and all of that, as well as another abatement. So hoping for a positive test result on that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, a negative test result, which would be positive. Thank you, Dewey. And then lastly, I know this is a little bit old, March 9th, but the one thing that we are seeing a lot less of, we are not seeing the cases in school, the positive cases. And as you can see, the current quarantines, we're still at 0 and 5. And I have not had a staff member out since early February. So that's really good news on that front. So any questions on any of those things from anyone? All right.
If not, is there any other new business? No other new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move, Dewey.
Motion by Dewey,
Second by Missy.
and a second by Missy. We'll do a roll call vote. Missy?
Yes.
Dewey? Lloyd? Dale?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. Meeting adjourned.